Hey everybody, it's Scotty from Scotty's Record Shop with an artist profile part one uh, of what I have on vinyl by the Rolling Stones. Right at the top, I want to tell you I'm not this big Rolling Stones aficionado. I've seen a lot of really great videos of imports, and I tend to be cheap. So when I see something, it's been years, you know what I mean, collecting this stuff, I see it fairly cheaply, I grab it. So like my Let It Bleed doesn't have the poster. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. But I'll run through what I have. This is actually going to be, like I said, part one. It's going to be the 60s stuff. All U.S. Pressings, by the way. No imports. I haven't been able to find any, in my area in the wild, fairly inexpensive. So start off actually with a compilation from 1964, England's greatest hitmakers. This has the Stones and a bunch of other people that were on London records at the time. This is a mono press, just so you guys can see everybody's into labels. There's your London label. All of these, even though some of the covers are kind of crapped out in some cases, the vinyl is all in pretty good shape, Not mint, but in good shape. This was the hardest one. I finally caved in and picked up a reissue of this. But I'd never seen this album in the wild. Great Stones album. England's newest hitmakers. This is a reissue that came out, I don't know, several years ago. Let's see the Decca label on that. Sounds great though. It's a mono. It's a great album. This is one of those classic early Stones albums. Couple of different copies of this one. 12 from 5. This one is, like I said, the cover is kind of beat up, ring wear and stuff. This is a mono press. Let me show you the label on this. There's the label on that. Mono press. That one. Again, the great thing about old vinyl, again, I've said this in hundreds of videos or whatever, but it can look a little beat up, but it can play really good. And this actually plays through quite well. Another copy of it. This is a stereo pressing, like a 70s era pressing on London. That one I saw it and it was really inexpensive. I said, the heck with it. Out of Our Heads. This is a mono pressing. Like I said, again, the covers are, I know everybody's into labels. So let me show you the label on this one. There you go again. There's your label on that. I'll be honest with you, I don't know much about these labels. I know the color variations. When I see this color, I know that it's a mono. But I don't know. There's a lot of specific differences about even the monos and stuff. Boxed, unboxed. I don't understand that stuff. So, December's Children. Another mono pressing of this. This is to give you an example. This is different. Different mono London label. Slightly different shade. This is the cover to this totally beat. Booklet is still intact, really nicely, and I keep this because it is a mono pressing of this. Obviously, it's a great album, but I did manage to find this. This is, I believe, a very early, very early pressing of this. Of course, the booklet intact. It's a stereo press, and the original inner sleeve of that one. There's your, and I can tell this is quite thick. So this is, I know it's a very early, at least a 60s pressing of this one. Great Stones album. I saw that, and it wasn't horribly expensive. It wasn't horribly cheap either, but it's just one of those great albums that you kind of have to have by the Stones. I don't know about that. Come on, you. Get back in there, you. Okay, the next one. All right, Got Live if you want it. This is a 70s press. London stereo. Some people don't care for this album as much as, like, say, Get Your Ya-Ya's on or whatever, but I still like it. Aftermath, 1966. This is, again, a 70s pressing. Obviously in stereo. Between the Buttons. This is a 60s press of this. In pretty decent shape, and I can't remember if it's mono or stereo, so let's look at it together, shall we? Pretty sure it's stereo. Yeah, it's stereo. Of that in decent shape. This next one is a 70s pressing. It doesn't have the hologram or whatever it's called cover. Oh, baby. Yeah. Right here. Of course, it's this LP. 70s pressing on it. And, obviously, it being a 70s pressing, it's in stereo. See a lot of these all the time with that hologram or whatever it's called cover taken off. It's really stupid looking. I don't know why people did that. Okay, Flowers, kind of a cool compilation. Covers an issue with the edge here, but it's a stereo 60s pressing, so I went with it, even though the cover wasn't all that happy. Nice thick vinyl, great album. Okay. Again, some of these I'm sure came, like I know Let It Bleed came with a poster. I don't have it. I you know, maybe some of these other ones did too. This is got a little sticker issue right here, but other than that, this is in excellent shape, and it's a 60s press of this as well. Love that die cut cover, and 60s, wonderful London label. Original cover for this. Well, original, it's not the toilet. Beggars Banquet. It's a nice early pressing as well. US pressing stereo. I don't know if there were any. I know the UK there was some monos of this, right? But I don't know if there was any mono in the US. Finally, one of my favorite albums by the Stones of all time. Let It Bleed. And again, this is original inner sleeve, but does not have the poster with it. Vinyl's in great shape. It was a great deal, so I went with it. It's like, you know, maybe someday I'll find the poster and throw it in there. But alrighty, a quick little blow through of what I have for the Rolling Stones. Excuse me. 60s stuff anyway. Down the road I'll make a 70s and 80s. I'll lump it all in one of the stuff that I have that came out after 69. Alrighty? Hey, as always, thank you for subscribing and watching these silly things. And until next time, everybody, peace and love.